Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I will work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Well, guys, gals, if you can believe it, August has come and gone. This is our last weekend. Then we're going to be into September. It's like pre-emergent time. Bermuda grass is going to start slowing down. Zoy's going to start slowing down. The cool season guys and gals are about to get their second wind and get into their top dressing and overseeding and all that fun jazz. So it's going to be, depending on what kind of grass you have, it's either a time of reflection or a time of excitement, right? As always, we're coming to you guys live on YouTube as our primary platform, but you can also watch the show on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. So whichever way works best for you, feel free to check it out. As always with Instagram, it's kind of a crapshoot whether or not we get more than an hour. If we do, good luck. If not, come join the show on Meta or YouTube. All right, let's see what we can get into, guys, as far as our questions and comments. Kind of a slow night tonight, but we'll see what we got. We got Mr. Scott Smith leading things off. He says, good evening, everybody. Go hit that like button. I appreciate that, Scott. Thanks for leading the charge. And I did get your pictures. I'll share those with everyone here on the live stream here in a little bit. It's funny. We've been following Scott's lawn really since spring, right? Like early spring when it was on the struggle bus. It was kind of taking its sweet time to kind of come out of dormancy. And we literally think we've got an update pretty much every week to show like where things are going. And look at the pictures, it looks really good today. So we'll show that later on here in the show. All right, next up we have Hell69 says, first person hit the like button, no big deal. It's a very big deal. What are you talking about, man? The like button, first person on the like button is a very big deal. You're priming the pump. See, when other folks see that the like button's already been hit, now you made it easier for them. So don't short yourself on the importance of getting on the like button. Then we got Hell69. What's going on, Hell69? And show me your dishwasher. Is dishwasher time? All right, I guess so. And then let's see here. We have Scott Smith says update pick sent. Scott, we can go ahead and show folks what you're working with as far as your lawn. I know we've kind of spoken it up. But overall, we'll show folks what a Bermuda lawn looks like in the end of August, going into early September. And what's cool about this is that Scott has also inspired his next door neighbor to also get their lawn in order. So I'm not sure which one of those pictures will show it, but here we are. We're starting out, again, looking really nice. He's real mowing that. You can see that his lawn is definitely a nicer shade of green, a deeper shade of green, despite being shorter than the lawn next to him. You got a little comparison, a little compare and contrast right there. And then if we move on, this is some of the front lawn. And here's the thing, Scott. It's funny. It's we got some more pictures to show, but it's interesting how like 2-3 weeks ago, how the green was darker. It's probably just the heat of the summer finally getting to it. I'm not sure if you have water restrictions where you are, but it still looks great. It just shows that it's like the heat looks like it's affecting it a little bit, just a little bit. All right, let's keep going. So I think this is the picture that shows, so the neighbor. So guys, if you guys been following the live stream for a while, the lawn on the left before used to be a bit of a salad bowl. And now it looks a lot better. Granted, it's not quite as short as Scott's. Let's just face it. It's quite a bit taller, but overall it's a nice even color. So you can see it's a big improvement over where we were, just a few months ago. So whatever you're doing, Scott, as far as helping the neighbor out, good job. The lawn is coming together quite nicely. Got the street view there as well, also looking quite nice. So overall, top mark, sir. Keep it going. Lawn looks great. Lawn looks really great. All right. Next up is Dom Perilou. He says, hey, Ron, big fan. How can I get rid of ugly patches of coarse fescue and a turf-type tall fescue lawn? I don't know of a way to do that. It's like one of these things. If it's only a few areas, you might just physically remove it. I don't know of a way to selectively remove coarse fescue out of turf type tall fescue. There might be a way to do it. I may have to ask Devin if he knows of a way, but it's typically That's not an easy problem to solve. It's almost like if you have, hybrid Bermuda and you have common Bermuda in it, or if you have, so you got like a Xeon Zoysia lawn, you got emerald in it. It's very difficult. There's not really an easy way to get rid of one cultivar, or sorry, yeah, one cultivar of the same grass type. You know what I mean? So if you got Bermuda and Zoysia, that's easy to get rid of. If you got, and if you had Bermuda in your fescue, I could give you something to get rid of that. But as far as getting rid of like a fescue and fescue, to my knowledge, there's not a selective way of doing that. There might be, but I'm not aware of it. And that's typically the case for most grasses. Like you look like Kentucky bluegrass. Like we have a herbicide that is that's really good for removing, say, Poa annua and Poa trivialis out of a bluegrass, out of cool season turf grass, which is traditionally has been pretty tough to do. Works really well in ryegrass, works really well in fescue. If you try and use it in a Kentucky bluegrass lawn, it's kind of it's kind of a crapshoot. So some cultivars of Kentucky bluegrass tolerate it really well. Others don't, mainly because, like rough bluegrass and annual bluegrass, they're related to like the KBG that you like in your lawn, right? So same kind of thing with coarse fescue. So I'll do some digging. I'll ask Devin, see if he has any ideas. But if it's just a few patches, you might just try digging them out. I mean, that's probably the least, like that's one way you're definitely not going to damage your existing lawn. So you could dig it out. If it's a big enough area, you may just see that area and get your turf top fescue to come in, which can, outcompete the coarse fescue. That may be the strategy you may have to take to get that under control. So sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but just wanted to, just say in general, that's a very difficult problem to solve. Not just in fescue, but in other grasses as well. All right. Rainer Clifter says, "Hey, Ron, what's your email? I need to send some photos for a question." Well, what's the question? I guess my email is ron@golfcourselawn.com. But if you just send if you let me know what the question is, I may or may not have to look at pictures to be able to tell you. So drop the question in the chat, and then I'll be able to let you know. But it's ron@golfcourselawn.com is my email. All right, next up is K Kwan. Says, "Hey Ron, I'll be applying spectacles soon. I was going to apply liquid dimension in the spring. Good plan. I'm in Virginia and had a doveweed issue this week, so trying to get ahead of it." Sure, yeah. So as far as spectacle, love that as an option. You're in Virginia, so I'm assuming you have like Bermuda or Zoysia or some warm season turf grass, right? You can't use spectacle on a cool season lawn, which is pretty common in Virginia, but depending on where you are, you may have warm season grass. At any rate, if you've got Bermuda or Zoysia or St. Augustine, like one of the grasses that are labeled for spectacle, or that spectacle is labeled for use on, is a better way of saying it. Yes, using it in the fall, love that, love it. And what I would tell you to do is, I've done it a bunch of different ways. I've done a single application around this time of year at a slightly higher rate, so 0.2 ounces per 1,000 square feet, and that works well. Given that you're trying to use this to control doveweed, I mean, doveweed it's gonna start slowing down now. It's really gonna be have to come back again in the spring. But what I would do if it were me and you're trying to extend as much as you can, I would do an application now and do another one in like November, December timeframe. Now in Virginia, you guys get snow, so maybe you might not be able to wait all the way until December. If you know that if you can time it to where it's like a few weeks before when you expect your first frost, that would also work as well too for the second application. But by doing two apps, you're going to extend that coverage that is already really, really good with spectacle. Spectacle has a pretty long residual. I think per the label, they say up to like 10 months or something crazy. But the point is, if you do an application now, do an application later on in the fall to early winter, that will be enough to carry you into the spring when you'll start applying your dimension. Yeah, and as far as using dimension or prodiamine as a spring pre-emergent, I like the idea of doing that. Great stuff. So if you have anything else, let me know. I like what you're planning, man. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. And I don't think I've ever seen your name before, but if you are new, welcome. Okay. Next up, we have Andre Taylor. He says, "What's up, Ron? Happy Friday. Are you serious? Pre-emergent time already? Which granular to apply? Spectacle out of my budget." Yeah, so here's the thing, Andre. Do you have to apply pre-emergent just now? Not necessarily, but I'll tell you that in generally speaking, not generally speaking, but as a rule, a little bit early is better than a bit late when it comes to pre-emergent. Now, Poa annua, annual bluegrass, which is what a lot of folks are trying to keep out of their lawn this time of year, begins germinating really when soil temps really are in really in the high 60s. But really, when I tell folks, whenever you see soil temps are in the low 70s and trending cooler, get your pre-emergent out. Now, if you're going to use spectacle, or in your case, you're going to use a different pre-emergent, probably prodiamine, if spectacle's out of budget, what I would say is do an application of prodiamine like now, like late August, early September, and then do another one 2-3 months from now, like again later on in the fall, November, December timeframe. It's really not going to hurt you to get it out a little bit early. And if you have some POA that begins germinating a bit earlier, like a month from now, you're going to have coverage for that. So just much better to get it out a bit early than a bit late. Much like when it comes to the spring, I get my pre-emergent out around here in Georgia, typically like mid-February. Like the professional places that are like spraying lawns in the neighborhood, like the first week of January, they're out rolling trucks spraying in the lawn. So I'm like typically 6 weeks behind them, which for most of you guys would say is pretty early, right? But I don't tend to have a lot of weeds in my lawn. So a bit early is better than late, especially when you're especially I'm a fan of that in the fall, because like POA is can be a difficult weed to control. And I mean, granted, you got warm season grass, so you got certainty, which is a great way of dealing with it. But in general, just better just keep it out of your lawn in the first place and have to fight it later. So if you are, if you're not going to use spectacle, which I would highly recommend, but if you're not going to use that, then I would say a couple rounds of prodiamine would be the way to go. All right. Hopefully that helps, sir. All right. Next up is, I already got Cake One's question. Next up is Show Me Your Dishwasher says, what would you recommend for pre-emergent for emerald zoysia, Florida Panhandle? Should I even pre-emerge this fall? My sod was laid in May. Scare the spectacle will harm the roots. May, June, July, August. I mean, so here's the thing. If you're, it'll likely be fine, to be completely honest. It's probably gonna be just fine, especially if you go at, do 2 applications at the lower rate. But if you're really trying to be conservative, what you could do is the same advice I just gave Andre. Just use a couple rounds of prodiamine if you're just concerned that spectacle is going to damage your zoysia. It's probably going to be fine, to be completely honest. Like I did, like mine was done. You did yours in May. I laid mine in April last year, and in the fall it got spectacle, and there were no issues whatsoever with it. So mine was around like a month longer than yours, but I applied spectacle last fall, and we were good to go. If you're trying to be conservative, you can go with prodiamine, but spectacle flow really is it's an excellent pre-emergent for warm season turf grass, and it's honestly if it were me, is what I would use. If you're trying to be, again, you just want to sleep well at night, and you want to go with prodiamine, you can do that as well too. That'll work fine. All right, it's not going to work as well. It's not going to work as well as spectacles as far as keeping POA and other weeds out of your lawn, but it's definitely better than doing nothing. Okay. All right. Next up we have, let's see here. Next up we have, we got Mars Beads has entered the chat, looks like. She says, good evening, everyone. Ron, what do you think of rhizomatous tall fescue? I'm getting ready to buy seeds for my fall overseed. Yeah, I mean, it's a way for it to, it's a way for it to necessarily say creep, but for it to spread. If you, the only thing I would say is this, is if you can get pictures, or even better, if you can actually find some and look at it to make sure it's going to somewhat match your existing fescue, then yeah, if it looks similar and you don't mind it, even if it's not completely similar, you don't mind it kind of just blending in and having a slightly different texture and color and a fescue in your lawn, then it's there's definitely benefits to it. But I mean, I would take a look at it first, look at pictures at a minimum, and make sure you're happy with how it looks before you introduce it into your lawn. But I'm a fan, grass that can, fescue traditionally is more of a bunching grass. So if it's able to spread and fill in areas by spraying by the root zone, I am a fan of it. But again, the big thing is you're just going to want to apply, you're just going to want to make sure that it's going to look at your existing lawn. All right. Okay. Next up, we have Cody. Cody is in the live stream. He says, "Hey Ron, with football season approaching, let me begin with Go Dogs. Just sounded my Xeon in the backyard the weekend before you. Will you do a spring pre-emergent next year on the new grass?" Absolutely. Are you kidding? Absolutely. Yep. It's definitely getting pre-emergent. It's not going to get any this fall. Like that little area is not going to get any pre-emergent because it's not even a month old. It was done like, I'll tell you exactly how long it is. I think it's been 3 weeks at this point. It was put in on Friday. It was put on the 14th. Yeah, it was done on the 14th, and today is the 28th. It's 2 weeks old. It's already been mowed like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, but no pre-emergent this fall. I'll get it in the springtime. Absolutely, it'll more than likely. It's probably going to be Dimension, I think, this time around. I think. Don't hold me to that, but that's what I'm leaning towards. And congrats on the new Xeon, man. It's great grass. All right, next up is Louis P86. He says, "What's up, Ron? It's starting to cool down. The season is almost over. I know, right? It definitely is. I would I'd say enjoy it. You know, your lawn. You enjoyed the most of the season. Take this time now just to kind of let the lawn do what it's going to do. Relax. Start watching football if that's your thing, and just wait for next year. All right." Okay, next up we have James Black. He goes, "Howdy, Ron. Happy Friday, everybody. What's going on, James? Hopefully you're doing well." But yeah, guys, I mean, we still be having a lot of questions about pre-emergent tonight, and it's one of the talking points, like for this week, that if you are trying to, if you really are trying to minimize the amount of weeds you're going to have to contend with over the next few months, and then also into early spring next year, fall pre-emergent is really important. The only reasons, in my opinion, why you wouldn't use fall pre-emergent, wouldn't apply it, is if you have a relatively new lawn. So if you have a lawn that was like that one area of my front lawn that was sodded like 2 weeks ago, probably don't want to put pre-emergent on that, right? You want to let it get established and wait for next year. But if your lawn is if it's a warm season lawn, especially if it's more than 3-4 months old, and it's established, you've been mowing it, it's looking really good, looks really healthy, applying a fall pre-emergent is really good insurance just for reducing the amount of headache you have to deal with. Poa annua is not an inexpensive weed to have to get rid of. It's a bit of an eyesore, and the work that you put in now as far as putting out a fall pre-emergent is going to reduce it. It's going to reduce henbit. It's going to reduce. There's a lot of, we talk about Poa a lot, but there's a bunch of other weeds that are common over the winter months that pre-emergent does a really good job of reducing substantially in your lawn. So unless you've got a brand new lawn or you're overseeding, you really should be putting out pre-emergent. I mean, a bag of pre-emergent, if you do like prodiamine, is like $60-70. It's not that expensive. And the amount of coverage and benefit you get from it vastly outweighs what it costs, especially when you compare it against what it's going to cost you in post-emergent herbicides to control the weeds that you could have prevented with pre-emergent. So it's really an important aspect, an important part of keeping your lawn weed free. All right. Next up is Mr. Scott Smith. He says, "Yes, it's been so hot. I really need to get a powered reel mower. The lawn is too thick." Yeah, man. So that's the challenge you're going to run into, Scott. Is once this time of year, if you don't have a way to verticut it, I can kind of look at it and see that lawn. I mean, it looks really, it looks thick. I don't want to say spongy, but it's definitely got some thickness to it. So you verticutting it would help, but getting a powered reel mower is also it's gonna make your life a little bit easier, especially as you get further into the season. Like post July, a manual push reel mower on a lawn that's been reel mowed all season can be a bit of a workout. I mean, the cut quality traditionally is not going to be as good. Yours still looks really good. So I mean, whatever you're doing is working. But traditionally, as you get further into the season without a verticut with a manual push reel mower, the cut quality is going to suffer. So maybe next year, man, maybe you upgrade your game, get you a powered reel mower, and if you like the way your lawn looks now, if you go to a powered reel mower, it's going to be like an order of magnitude better. I always tell folks, if you really want a great lawn, the first thing is just mow your grass. Regardless of what kind of mower you got, just mow more. If you got like a rotary mower, just mow more with it. Keep it sharp and use it. And if you go from like one time a week or once every 2 weeks to like once a week, it's going to be a lot better. If you can mow twice a week, I always say Whether you're doing rotary or reel, mowing twice per week is that's the barrier for entry for really getting like an outstanding stand of turf grass. And then when you go from a rotary mower, like a really quality rotary mower, to like a push reel mower, it's going to be a noticeable improvement in just the visual appearance, just if you keep the mower sharp, the health of the turf. And then when you go from manual push to manual push reel mower to powered reel mower, there's probably a bigger gap, a bigger jump from going from manual push reel mower to powered reel mower than there is going from like a rotary mower to a manual push reel mower. And if you go to greens mower, it's incremental, but it is definitely better. So greens mower is definitely, that's like the meta as far as like having, if you're truly super crazy about your turf and you really want it to look as good as possible, greens mower is the way to go. They're more expensive to buy, more expensive to maintain, more expensive, and probably they're less fun to live with than like reel mowers or powered reel mowers that are more geared towards consumers. But as far as cut quality, man, can't really beat a greens mower. So you got a bunch of options. You got all this fall to think about it, and next year you may get some new toys, and you'll be able to show us off here on the live stream, right? Okay. Next up is Rainer Clifton. He says, I'm dealing with white spots, lesions on my hybrid Bermuda, which I believe to be some type of fungus. Just wondering what it is and if you recommend to treat it. Photos sent. Yeah, I'm not sure what. Let me see what I find here. What? Okay, your email, your name, and your email and your handle are the same. Like what is like gray? Looks like gray leaf. What is that? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what that is, Ray, nor I can show the folks here in the live stream. One of the pictures you sent me, the tips of the grass blades look. I'm not sure what you're cutting with, but it looks like pinch, stretched, and pinched. Huh. All right, let me show the folks what you're dealing with here. I don't know if that's gray leaf spot. Let me look here really quickly. It could be gray leaf spot. While I get that up on the lawn, I think so. It looks like to me, possibly. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah. So the images that he sent are here. No, that's not it. So. Yeah, this is okay. So one thing I'm seeing for sure is whatever you're cutting the lawn with is not sharp, man. Like that part of your problem is that. So this is a picture of the lawn, just in general, like a further away picture of it. You can see some of the lesions, like, but in general, you look at the tips of the grass blades. They look pretty butchered up. This is another example picture he sent. Yeah, you can see how it's kind of pinched and torn in the edge. And then finally, we have another pic. Yeah, I wonder if that's, yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure what that is, man. I don't know. But it's, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's causing that. I mean, as far, I guess let me do some digging. And I'll also pass it on to a colleague of mine and get his feedback on what he thinks it is. More than likely, like a fungicide like Headway that's got azoxystrobin and I'm drawing azoxystrobin and propiconazole in it will likely help the situation. But whatever you're cutting the lawn with, I would sharpen it. Like this looks like torn and pinched, and in this picture, you can really see it. Like a lot of the blades just look like they're being hacked at. So I'm not sure what you're cutting the lawn with, but it's not sharp, which is not helping your problem. So I got your email, Raynor. Let me do some digging and I'll get an answer for you. I'm not sure off the top of my head what it is. More than likely, I'm going to tell you to apply fungicide with propiconazole and azoxystrobin. It's something like Headway is what I would tell you to use. But yeah, let me find out exactly what you're dealing with, and I will email you back probably after the show. All right. Okay. Next up is Bebop He says, he says, Ron, I bought some fertilizer and to save my Tahoma plugs from the brink. Sounds good. Justin King says, hello, all. Smash that like button on your way in. I appreciate that, Justin. And then next up is Rather Be Golfing. He says, talked to two golf course superintendents here in North Carolina, and both said they follow the same plan as you for pre-emergent, half rate in the beginning of September, and another half rate end of October, beginning of November. It definitely works. It definitely works. I'm not a fan of doing split applications in the spring. Here's the thing. I don't think it really, for me anyway, at least for me, I've done it before in the past, and I didn't really see a big improvement other than I just had to go out and apply pre-emergent twice. But in the fall, there are benefits to it, especially if you're not using Spectacle. If you're using Prodiamine, you really want to do multiple apps in the fall to try and get as best coverage as you can using Prodiamine against annual bluegrass. So I like it. So they like to do it now and then again end of October, beginning of November. I dig it. I like late November, early December. But either way, two applications to try and extend that coverage. It does work well. With Spectacle, this is kind of the exception in the sense that you don't necessarily have to do that. But you are extending the coverage if you can do two apps spaced out by a few months. So glad to hear that the golf supers, at least the ones that you spoke to in North Carolina, are doing the same thing. I'm pretty sure they didn't learn about it from me. They probably just did that because it just makes a lot of sense to do that, right? It just makes sense. Because you know what it is? You think about it, like you start with your spring pre-emergent, you apply it in say, if you're early, right? So everyone says I'm way too early, but it works. And I never have issues with weeds in my lawn. So you apply it in February, right? Crabgrass begins germinating late around here, late February, early March. You can start getting some crabgrass in your lawn. The window between of how long pre-emergent has to work in the springtime. I mean, granted, you want to work throughout the entire spring and summer, but it's a shorter window than what you're expecting for coverage in the fall. You think about it, you're applying pre-emergent now, and if you're someone that's late to apply your spring pre-emergent, you really want it to last all the way until March. You're doing September, October, November, December, January, February. You're talking almost 6 months. So if you're not going to be applying your pre-emergent in February timeframe, you really want to do two applications. You do one again, now, a bit early is better than late, and then another one 2 to 3 months from now if your plan is to wait until March timeframe to do your pre-emergent. I'm a fan of getting it done earlier, but if you're one of these people that wants to wait till the last minute to do your spring pre-emergent, you absolutely need to be doing two apps in the fall. Thanks for letting me know that. Rather Be Golfing. Appreciate the comment. All right, next up is Jamal Atkins. He says, are we spraying Prodiamine at the recommended rate per 1,000 square feet for an August application and then again 3 months from now? Yeah, so what I'll tell you is this. It's a really good question. So if you have a warm season lawn, so Bermuda, Zoysia, St. Augustine, right? If you look at the annual limit for Prodiamine, it's 0.83 ounces per 1,000, right? So what you could do is if you're rotating pre-emergent between your fall pre-emergent and your spring pre-emergent, what you could do is you could apply Prodiamine at 0.4, 0.4 of an ounce now, and then do another application for 0.4 of an ounce, 3 months from now. And then in the springtime, you rotate to something like dithiopyr, to dimension, right? If you're someone that is using only Prodiamine as your only pre-emergent year-round, which I don't really recommend doing that, but that's what you want to do due to budgetary reasons, or you just don't want to have more than one pre-emergent, it's going to be different. Because really, if in the spring, if you only use Prodiamine as your only pre-emergent in this, you've got to make that 0.80 last a 12-month period. So what I would say is you're going to use 0.4 in the spring, and then two applications of 0.2 in now, and another one in a few months from now, late November, early December. What works better if all you're using is Prodiamine is to go a slightly heavier rate, so 0.4 now, 0.4 2 to 3 months from now, and then just use something different in the springtime for a couple of reasons. One, you reduce the chance of resistance, and then second, you're able to use Prodiamine at rates that are going to work better given the amount of extended coverage you're trying to get out of that pre-emergent. or you can just use Spectacle and not worry about it. But yeah, so if you're saying if you're the recommended rate is, I mean, there's depending on how you're using the product, the rate changes, and depending on how many apps you plan to make per season, the rate changes. You know what I mean? So when I will use it in the spring, I spray it one time in the springtime on the higher end of the rate card, and that works really well for me. But I rotate to Spectacle in the fall. You know, so unfortunately, Jamal, the most correct answer to this question is it depends. It depends on how you're using it. If you're all using it as prodiamine, then you got to make that 0.8 last over the entire 12 months. If you are rotating, then you can go a couple applications and go heavier, which I think will perform. I know will perform better than kind of like spoon feeding or doling it out at the lower rates. All right. So hope that helps, sir. If you have any questions, let me know. I've got plenty of videos that on spraying prodiamine. So just check, like, search on YouTube and you'll be able to find the stuff I've got for it. All right. Next up, and guys, my moderator's telling me that some of you guys are looking for a super chat. We don't have super chats anymore. What you can do if you want to support the content, we have a Cash App link conspicuously placed right there. So if you want to send one there, it's a way for you to jump to the head of the line. We got someone here saying, I have a complex question. Oh boy. How complex are we talking about? What is the meaning of life? Bermuda or Zoysia? Like how complex are we talking here? I may or may not have the answer. All right. Wrong Og says, happy Friday. What's going on? Wrong Ogs. And then next up is Jack N. He says, will Celsius be enough to kill a few weeds in my Bermuda? Like most questions in life, Jack, the best answer is it depends. Which weeds are you talking about? If you got like Poa annua in your Bermuda grass lawn, probably not. If you got nutsedge in your Bermuda grass lawn, probably not. Celsius is not the way to go. So it really depends. Broadleaf, Celsius is an excellent herbicide. Probably my favorite herbicide for warm season turfgrass. If I could only have one, it would probably be Celsius. But really, it really shines for broadleaf weed control. So it depends on which weeds you're trying to control. If you've got a bit of a salad bowl going on, I tend to throw Celsius at folks and tell us, in general, it's going to knock out most of the stuff that you're going to have in your lawn. If you got sedges, then you're going to want to go with something like Certainty. Like this is going to be a better choice. If you got Poa annua, which you wouldn't have this time of year, but if you had Poa annua, again, Certainty, not Celsius. So it really depends on the weeds that you have in your lawn, but in generally speaking, it's an excellent choice for broadleaf weed control in warm season turfgrass. All right. Big fan of Celsius. All right, Mars Bees up next says, thanks. You're very, very welcome, Mars Bees. Just going to give you some things to think about because, here's the thing. Warm cool season folks tend to be a little bit less, in general, less picky, I guess, about having like a blended lawn of different types of grasses in there and, different cultivars and just having it be, I hate to say salad bowl-y, but just more of a mix. Whereas with warm season folks, we tend to try and like that monostem. We like a one type of grass in the lawn. So if you're going to do, introduce a different type of fescue, it's not uncommon for folks to do what you're trying to do, but I would just say look at it first and make sure that it matches your existing lawn so that you're not irritated by what you are, what you bring in. Because once you bring it in, it's going to be a pain to get rid of. Okay, next up is Helio Castillo. He says, good evening, Ron. Hope all is well. Planning on applying Spectacle Flow to my backyard, but I'm not sure about the front yard due to me putting plugs. Yeah, so if you're trying to establish new grass in the front lawn, whether it be by sod or plugs, I wouldn't do Spectacle. I really wouldn't. I honestly, I would just avoid pre-emergent in that area in general, because the primary goal that you have for the front lawn is to get the new grass to grow in and for it to establish. And what that means is, are you going to have more weeds? Yes, but you can always just target those after the fact. You can either pull them or you can just spot spray with a good selective herbicide if you have to go that route. You just have to kind of pick your battles. And in your case, I know you've been on the struggle bus for trying to get that front lawn to really grow in. So if the new plugs are beginning to take, I wouldn't want to do anything to negatively impact them. So I would say let's hold off on pre-emergent in the front lawn. Back lawn, it's already established, good to go. Let's not do that on the front. Okay, Coach Captain Kurt says, we have burnt up in Texas. Most lawns are going dormant. North Texas. Thank you for the live work. Stay tuned. Mm. Yeah, I get it, man. Heat and inability to water, coupled with drought is not a recipe for a great looking lawn. I get it. The struggle is real. Says, was thinking about soil amendments, hot and dry. Yeah, so this season, actually, I was talking to the manufacturer. We're getting ready to begin bottling our moisture manager. Unfortunately, you guys are probably not going to use it this season, but this is it. I've been testing it. Got a label on the other side. I'm not going to show you what it says. But yes, next year we're going to have something for you, Captain Kurt. We're going to have you covered as far as a moisture manager. Think you're going to like it. Think you're going to like it. All right, next up is Jamal Atkins. Says, can you use prodiamine in flower beds? You can. I've done, traditionally what I've done with that is whenever I've sprayed my front lawn, for the entire lawn, if I have any pre-emergent left over, I will spray the mulch beds. It does tend to work well. What I'll tell you is this: if you're doing a pre-emergent for mulch beds, granular, from what I've seen, tends to work a bit better than liquids. If you got mulch in there, like the mulch tends to, I'm not sure if it just absorbs it or soaks some of it up, and it just doesn't seem to get into the soil as well as granular. So if you're gonna do pre-emergent, use prodiamine in the mulch beds. Going with a granular, I find that tends to work better. If there's another product, I think it's called, I can see the bag. It's a preen. That's a common product that's used in mulch beds, and most folks that apply it, it's applied as a granular, right? That tends to work pretty well. But prodiamine, if you got some in granular form, will perform pretty well too. It's just liquids that I find that just don't seem to work as well if you have mulch. If you got just plain dirt, like if you got like plants growing and like pavers and there's not like mulch in there, which most of you that's probably not the case. But if that is the case with you, then liquid will work fine. But there's something about having all the mulch in there that I just find that it's just not as effective as going with a granular for pre-emergent in mulch beds. All right. All right, next up is Infinite Brilliance Detailing. It says, hey, Ron, hope you're doing well. I can't complain, man. Even if I did, no one would listen. I've tried. I have spectacle flow. Nice. I know you say to do it the end of August, beginning of September, and also the end of November. At what rate do I spread it? Thanks. It depends. What I tell you is if you're going to do 2 apps, what I like to do is I'll get a bottle, like a Celloprint bottle, SC bottle, or an old Primo Max bottle, because it has one of these measuring cups that are really, really super handy for measuring out liquids. I've got mine labeled. It's got spectacle written all over it, so I know exactly what it is. All right, so if you're going to do this, make sure we label it properly and you know exactly what's in said bottle. And what I will do this weekend is a 1/10 of an ounce, so 0.10 ounces, which you can see, that's the bottom, that's 0.10. Not that much, right? Not that much. It's kind of getting like an ounce container to measure that out. It's gonna be kind of tough to do, which is why these are so handy. So you do 0.10 now in a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet, and do the same thing again at the end of November. So again, having one of these is pretty handy for that. As far as getting that rate. So if you had a 4-gallon sprayer, you would use 0.4 ounces or just under half an ounce in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet, and then you'd be off to the races. Now keep in mind, guys, even though I like those rates I give, or like the total what I'm applying is 0.2 ounces per 1,000 over the fall months. That's not even the limit for spectacle. You can go higher than that. I just find that you get really good results using less of it. Plus the stuff's not cheap, right? Why not? So that's why those rates that I use, if you look at the rate card, that's not the limit for Bermuda or Zoysia. The rate for, if I remember showing me the rate for St. Augustine, is it for St. Augustine and for Centipede is lower. I think those are like 6 ounces per acre, and then Bermuda, you think you go up to like 10 per acre. I think. I mean, don't quote me on that, but the rate for Bermuda grass is quite a bit higher. The rates that I use, which are 0.10 ounces per 1,000, will work on both Bermuda grass and the grasses like St. Augustine and Centipede that have a lower annual limit. So that's why I like that rate. And on Bermuda, it works really well. So hope that helps. Infinite Brilliance Detailing. I want to say that we do have some guidance on the golf course lawn store for Spectacle Flow, but let me see here. I want to say on how to use. Yeah, there we go. See, look here. If you go to Golf Course Lawn Store, got you covered, man. Go to the Golf Course Lawn Store. You go to Spectacle Flow. Even if you don't get it from us, it's kind of useful as a reference. And you scroll down to the How to Use section. And guys, gals, you know, as a general rule, pretty much every product that's on the store, there's a How to Use section, and in there there'll be guidance on, you know, pretty much it's on the label. And if there's any tips or tricks that we've found that help perform pretty well, you'll see that listed there. But you'll see the application rate is, you know, listed at 0.10 or 0.20 ounces per 1,000 square feet, depending on your grass type and depending on what your strategy is. All right. But yeah, just a general rule, and even if you're not buying it from us, if you go to if we carry it, you just go to the How to Use section, you'll find some guidance, tips, tricks, maybe even a video that will give you some help on getting a good result. Okay. All right. Next up is Gerald Jennings. He says, Ron, I have a slight problem with chamber bitter this season. Which pre-emergent would be best for this weed? The grass is zoysia in Georgia. I want to say that, I mean, Prodiamine and Dimension should both be labeled. I think chamber bitter will handle both of those. Hang on. Make sure I'm not lying to you here. I'm pretty sure Prodiamine. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, so Prodiamine. Yeah, Prodiamine will do it. I thought so. Yeah, so Prodiamine earlier in the spring, not like right now, is what you'd want to go with for that. Obviously check the label for any pre-emergence you want to use. There's other ones that are listed as well, but Prodiamine, I was pretty sure that it was labeled for chamber bitter. All right, I hope that helps, Gerald. And as far as getting rid of it, again, a good broadleaf herbicide like Celsius should knock that out if you're having issues with it. All right, Justin King says that picture of grass blades looks like it's been a surfactant burn. You think so, Justin? Let's look at it again. I don't know, man. You think? I don't know. He didn't talk about anything that he sprayed on the lawn. I mean, it could be. It could be. You see, the thing I'm looking at, Justin, is you look at the grass, but a lot of it tends to be towards. Well, no, that's not true. I was going to say a lot of it tends to be towards the tips of the grass for a lot of this. Like this, whatever he's cutting the lawn with, thing one, absolutely is not sharp. Like that is definitely contributing to this issue. But you know, it could be some kind of a chemical burn, like surfactant burn, like you're saying. All right, next up is Jason W. Harrison. He says, people need to reevaluate the cost of Spectacle. It's about $4 per 1,000 square feet. Jason's actually right. You know what I mean? It's this bottle treats like 3 acres. You'll have it for years and 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 years. If you have a normal, like, you know, sub 10,000 square foot lawn, you'll have it for a really long time. It's about $4 per 1,000, and then it's so good you don't have to apply as much post-emergent, which saves you money there as well. This is true, and I will tell you, like, the reason why I settled on Spectacle is it's still night tonight. We can go take a trip down a memory lane. In the past, if you look at some of the content that I've done on the channel, I have done only Prodiamine in the fall. I have done Dimension only in the fall, dithiopyr in the fall. I have done Prodiamine and Princep, Prodiamine and Simazine in the fall, and then I've also done Prodiamine, Simazine, and Image in the fall. So also Mazaquin, right? So I've done like a combination, like Poor Man's Coastal in the fall, and I hate to say the worst, like any pre-emergent you apply is going to be better than not doing anything, right? So still apply a pre-emergent even if you're not using Spectacle. However, the only combination out of those that I listed that kind of approaches what Spectacle does is the blend of Prodiamine, Simazine, and Amazaquin, right? Those three work pretty well, and they get close to what Spectacle does. Not quite as good, but it gets pretty close. The thing with Spectacle is if you want to, and you don't want to get out there and be out in December, you can just apply it one time at the higher rate, and you're going to see a drastic reduction. Dare I say, hardly any annual bluegrass in your lawn. Like the only places I see POA in my lawn is where it touches the neighbors. Like where my lawn touches the neighbor's lawn, I'll see like one or two that'll creeping right there, and I'll just like, pull them out. But throughout in general the entire property, I don't have issues with annual bluegrass in the lawn, largely due to spectacle. So once I discovered this, tested it out one year, and like the sun, the clouds parted. It was a thing of beauty. I'm like, okay, well this I can check this one off. I mean, in lawn care, like you're always kind of chasing like the next thing is a bit better. Like when it comes to fertilizer, you're always trying to play with that. With growth regulator, you're playing with different strategies. Biostimulants, you're always playing with different things to see what can work better. Like as far as solving the problem of massive weed reduction in the fall and springtime, early springtime, spectacle flow, like that, like check, that problem is solved. No need to revisit that. Right now, granted, I've heard some people getting resistance to it. I have not had that issue, but if you don't have a problem with any kind of resistance with spectacle, it's by far worth investing in my opinion. Really, really good product. And next, I've used a lot of different pre-emergents in the fall, and nothing approaches this stuff. It's expensive because it's worth it. Magic is not cheap. Okay, next up is Mike Lumpy. He says, I'm renovating my lawn to Kentucky Bluegrass midnight. I bought a new reel mower with 9 blades. Okay. They said the height of cut on this mower can go as high as 1 3/4 inches, but it only goes to 1 1/4 inches. Okay, at this height of cut in Kansas. Okay, yeah, so first of all, if you're trying to mow at almost 2 inches, like a reel mower is not the right tool. Like you really want to be mowing, really 1 1/4 and lower is what I would tell you for a reel mower. You really don't want to be like, they're not designed for mowing tall. They're designed for lower heights of cut. So maybe the reel mower that you have, it can go up to 1.75 if you put like a high cut kit on it, or you change, like you move like where maybe the roller's mounted or something, and maybe then it'll go higher. But even if it does, the cut quality is not going to be as good. So what I would say is 1 1/4. That's a good height. Kentucky Bluegrass can be cut at 1 1/4, no problem. And yeah, if you're going reel mower, like use the equipment as it's designed to be used at the heights of cut that it's designed to be used. The big thing you need to ask yourself, and I always tell folks this before you get into reel mowing, is ask yourself and be honest with yourself whether you really have the time to commit to it, because it is a time commitment compared to like maintaining a lawn at higher heights of cut, or like with a rotary mower. So if you got the time to do it and you enjoy doing it, then yeah, 1 1/4 or shorter is where you're going to want to live. The cut's going to be better. The turf's going to look better. You're not going to get washboarding. Just in general, it's going to be better. So 1 1/4 is where I would leave it. Plus, you got like a 9 blade, man. Like a 9 blade. I don't know that I really want to be at almost 2 inches with that, with something like that. If you're going to cut taller, you're going to want like like 5, 6 blades, maybe 7 blades. But if you're going 9 blade, you really want to be at a lower height of cut than 1 3/4 inch. Okay. All right. Next up is JC says, compared to what prodiamine and the cost of post-emergent, it's much cheaper. You are correct. It is far, far cheaper than prodiamine and post-emergent herbicides. When you factor in like certainty, Celsius, just the fact that you're just fighting a lot less weeds, and you're not even talking about your time. Like, what's your time worth, right? There's also that. You just flip the bottle with neighbors, and it's much cheaper in the end. I agree. Dominic Covered says, putting too much pre-emergent on grass damage good grass. Yes, it's like anything else. Like anything that, like the dosage matters. Like water, right? Which we always say, like drinking water is good for us, right? You got to drink plenty of water, but too much water, it's not good for you. Like you drink, trying to drink like 10, 15 gallons of water in a day, you're gonna have a really, really bad outcome doing that. So like when it comes to applying products to your lawn, not just herbicides, to anything, like the dose matters. At certain dosages, it's helpful, and other dosages, like especially when you go up, you go double, triple, quadruple the rate, it becomes toxic. So it's all in the dose. So what I would tell you is the manufacturer is very, very incentivized to sell as much of that product as they can, because that's how they make money. And if they're telling you use this much of it, because that's going to produce a really good result, then use that much and no more. Like they've done the research, they've done the testing, they've, when it comes to also just what they've told the EPA as far as how much they're recommending that people put of this product in the soil, like that's how much you should be using. So just you follow the label. Like you're gonna get a better result following the label. Like more is not better. Like a big part of why like herbicides at like big box stores are so expensive per application or like per app is because a lot of it is it's watered down. Like if you look at like the amount of active ingredient in a lot of herbicides you find in the big box stores, the percentages are noticeably lower than what you get in like the herbicides that we carry and that are targeted more for professionals, right? Main reason is people don't read labels. They figure if 1 ounce is good, that 2 ounces is better, and that's just not the case. So yes, putting down too much pre-emergent can damage the grass in general. The roots is what are going to suffer. So don't do that. Just apply it at the correct rates, and you're going to get a good result. Like more is not better when it comes to pre-emergent. All right. All right. Next up is Bebop. He says, Lebanon 14714 arriving today. No possibilities of this burning the grass as long as I water it in right after. 105 degrees right now in SoCal. Yeah. So here's the thing with the 14714 Bebop, and where a lot of times you'll get burn when it comes to granular fertilizers on lawns. All right. So if you take, I don't have them here. Let me bring them back down. I have like my little bottle, little jars of fertilizer to be able to show you. Actually, you know what? I can do it the manual way. So what causes a lot of burn when it comes to granular fertilizers, especially if you apply them on a damp lawn, which is why they always say with granular products, apply them to a dry lawn, if that prill, you take a damp lawn, that prill sits on the leaf of a damp lawn, or just on the leaf of a lawn in general, you're much more likely to get burning from that than if it can get past the grass, past the leaf, and get into the soil where it can work. So to that end, if you look at, what can I show you? I don't even have a picture of like a regular fertilizer, but if you look at like, if you go to shop and lawn fertilizer, and we look at like Humic Max 1608, right? And if you look at the prill size of that, this is about, Humic Max 1608 is about, these prill are about this, it's a 150 SGN, which is about the size of the tip of a pen. It's smaller than the tip of a pen. It's very, very, very fine. All right. And this is the larger prill of the ones that we carry. Now, the one that you're talking about, the 14714, which is our greens grade fertilizer, if you go to this, and you look at the picture I've got here, I think I put a picture of a dime next to it. Yeah, so if you look at that, that's a dime, right, for reference. And if you look at the prill size, it's tiny in comparison. So as far as this getting past a thicker lawn and getting, really bypassing that leaf and getting into the soil where it can work, you're far less likely to get burning with a fertilizer prill in this size than you are with a larger prill, which is more likely to sit on the top of the grass. So I say all that to say, highly unlikely you're going to get burning. Would I still water it in after application? Yes. So if you apply it, then water it in, you're going to be just fine. Just stick to the rates. The 14714 has a percentage of slow release nitrogen in it. I'll actually tell you how much. Give me 1 second here. I'll tell you. Where's the label? Yeah, so it's the 4714, over half of it. So 8% of that 14% of nitrogen that's in it, the composite of the composition of nitrogen that's in that product is slower release. So also less likely to cause a big flush of growth and by extension burning. But the big thing is apply it, water it in, you're gonna be just fine. All right. Hopefully that helps. All right. Let's see here. Fragrance Man 3790 says, I'm in South Texas, extremely hot right now, but I'm getting very brown in my Bermuda. I don't know if it's fungus or worms or grubs. Can I treat for both now? If it will further hurt the lawn, will iron help as well? So it depends on what it is, right? It sounds like you're trying to throw a bunch of stuff at it. If it's, as far as insecticide, we recommend applying insecticide like twice in the season. So once in late March, early April, and then again like late July, and then August timeframe. So like now, right? Or really like 3 weeks ago. So from a standpoint of insecticide, that's how I would do it. When it comes to disease, without seeing pictures of it, I don't know exactly what you're dealing with. But the times of year when we, again, typically recommend applying fungicide. And you know what? You don't actually remember any of this. If you go to the golf course lawn store, I'll show you really quickly where you can find our recommendations around when and how to apply those products. If you go to resources and then lawn care schedule and then monthly application schedule, and you scroll down month by month, it tells you like what we recommend applying and when, which is why in April you see insecticide and an insecticide app. And again, in August, you see another insecticide app. And then as far as fungicide, we recommend it in May, June, which is shown here and shown here. And then in the fall, which is shown here and here. So if you have an active disease problem in your lawn, obviously you would apply a fungicide now to control that. But it doesn't sound like you really know exactly what's going on. It could be just the fact that the lawn is just dry because it's hot. You know what I mean? So if you have areas of the lawn that are just turning brown and because of localized dry spot or it's drying out, like fungicide or insecticide is not going to help that, right? Because that's not the issue. So without knowing exactly what's happening, it's you're just throwing stuff at a problem without really, you have to diagnose what the problem is first before you go out and start throwing products at it, is what I would recommend. If you do have a disease issue, yes, you can apply fungicide now. It's not going to hurt the lawn or make it worse. If you do have a grub issue, assuming that's the case, then yes, you could apply an insecticide now. It's not going to hurt anything. So, but again, we're just guessing because I haven't seen pictures of it. Doesn't sound like you really know exactly what's going on. But to answer your question, if it's a disease problem, yes, you can still apply fungicide now. If it's an insect damage problem, yes, you can still apply insecticide now. So yes, the answer to both your questions is yes, you can, but I would diagnose what you got first before you start throwing stuff at the lawn. Okay. All right. Next up is I have Bermuda. Is it too late to apply 600? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that product. I mean, it's an iron product, but I'd ask like either whoever you got it from or just read the label and see what guidance they have. I can't see why it would be an issue to apply it now, but again, I don't carry it. I don't use it, so I can't really tell you whether or not there would be an issue with it. I kind of doubt there would be though. All right, you're very welcome, Mike. And then next up is Mike Lumpy. Says, one more question. What's a good starter fertilizer for use on Kentucky bluegrass? I would use our 14714. So this guy, I'll send you a link to it here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to Shop and Lawn Fertilizer. It will be the second one, the second bag. This one right here. This is the one that I would use for new sod, overseeding project. This is an excellent choice. When I put my new sod in, that is what I use. So you'll see it here in the chat, Mike. I see you're on Instagram, so let me send it there. So hopefully you can click that link. If not, sorry. All right, but there, that's where it, that's what I would use on a new lawn. All right. Oh, Devin, you're in the live stream. He says, hey, what's up, Ron? How's the new turf looking? I'm good, man. He says, I got some carbonized PNG out today before a nice rainstorm in the middle of getting a louvered pergola put up in our backyard, HOA, town zoning, and locates. Okay, cool. Very cool. Wait a minute. So, is it like, what's it going to do to the, I mean, have you done an analysis of how this potentially could hurt the grass? I mean, it sounds really nice. I'm sure it's going to be a nice decoration in the backyard, but let's make sure we're not going to hurt the grass in the process of doing this. You know what I mean? Just priorities. That's all I'm saying, right? While you're here, Devin, what say you? What do you think this is? I'm not sure if you're here in the chat. A gentleman sent this in earlier. He didn't give any guidance as far as what he was doing, what was applied, anything like that. He just says, I'm not sure what this is. So what say you? What say you as far as what those gray spots, lesions on the grass edge? What do you think? I'll look here in the chat, see what you come back with. All right, next up is Herbert, or Sherbert. It says, I'm in South Texas, temps close to 100 degrees. What would you recommend? Some pre-emergent. November, December? Yeah, you could wait till then if you wanted to. I mean, I would still get get ahead of it some. I mean, in your case, yeah, maybe doing it now, perhaps not necessarily. You might be able to wait till like mid to late September to do it. But again, when it comes to pre-emergent, a bit early is not going to hurt you. Because think about it, like if you use prodiamine, right, which don't really recommend in the fall, but if that's what you want to use, you can. Even if you waited till like say end of September, October to do it, right? So you apply in October, beginning of October, so you got October, November, December, and say the end of December, like before New Year's, you apply again. That's still going to carry you into the spring before you do your next pre-emergent app. So there's if especially if you're doing two, there's not a whole lot of reason to wait. Like just get some out, like get ahead of weed pressure in your lawn in the fall and early and late winter. There's no reason to wait a really long time because you're going to be applying it again really like 6 months or so from now, less than 6 months from now. So I would wait and I would get it done if you want to wait a bit longer. End of next month, end of September, early October, get your pre-emergent out. Is what I would tell you. All right. Next we have Ball Game MV. He says, Kalinga has been killing me. Solera and Sledgehammer not really knocking it down. What kind of grass do you have? That would be helpful. That'd be helpful. Helpful to know which one you have. I mean, Sledgehammer does work against sedges, against Kalinga. I mean, if you have warm season turf grass, certainty is better. The fact that you're using Sledgehammer, though, makes me think you have a cool season lawn, which you can't use certainty on. All right, next up is Mikey Geester, 4284. He says, Ron, should I still resume my fall spectacle flow and February prodiamine when I'm planning a lawn renovation in late May 2027? I'll be spraying out the existing Tifway 419 and going with Tahoma 31. Yes, I would still do spectacle now and doing prodiamine. Yes, I would. Yeah, the answer to your question is yes. Because if you, let's say you did prodiamine in February, you got February, March, April, May, that's like 4 months, 4-ish months. Prodiamine is going to begin falling off by then. And you're going to, I imagine, if you're going to be killing off your existing 419 and going to Tahoma 31, you're going to do a couple rounds of herbicides to get rid of it, to bring the Tahoma 31. So yeah, I would still follow the same pre-emergent strategy that's your outline. I would still do spectacle flow and I would still do pre-emergent in the early spring, like February timeframe. Love it. And then you said, also, when should I spray the glyphosate fusillade combo and how long after should I lay my sod? My lawn is typically fully out of dormancy by early May. Thanks. Great. So it's a good question, Mikey. So in this case, there's a couple of considerations. You're not going from 419 to Zoysia, right? You're going from Bermuda to Bermuda. You're going from 419 to Tahoma 31. So you really, 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 really want to get as much of the 419 gone as you can. So if it were me, I would do a couple rounds of it. So if you wanted to do an application, like your initial app in towards the tail end of April, that would be good. And then another application of glyphosate and fusillade, like 2 to 3 weeks later, that should do a pretty good job knocking out the Bermuda grass. That combination of glyphosate and fusillade is really, really good for getting rid of Bermuda grass. And then the hard part comes, like as far as the prep work, you want to get as much of the existing, not as much, you just want to get as much of this existing sod, like get it out, like get it all gone, till out as much of the existing root zone that's there, just like get it all out. Because with you going to Tahoma 31, there is not an easy way to get rid of the 419 should it begin growing through it. So you want to do as much as you can to get as much of it like removed as you possibly can. And here's the thing: eventually, you're still likely going to have some 419 breakthrough. It's just kind of a thing. It's probably more likely going to happen. But whereas you see when on my content, you've seen me just using one round of glyphosate and fusillade as I go from Bermuda to Zoysia. The reason why I'm able to get away with that is because I have this. I can do this, right? I can use these two, recognition and fusillade, to get rid of any Bermuda grass when it does break through. You're not going to have that option. So you really are going to want to get rid of, do as good a job as you can getting rid of the existing Bermuda before you move to Tahoma 31. All right. So I would begin like, again, it depends on how your lawn's looking, but the the tail end of April would be a good time, and then again 2 to 3 weeks later, you would hit it again. The big thing is why you want to wait till the Bermuda grass is actively growing and largely beginning to come out of dormancy is because, as much as it pains my heart to say it, in this case we're treating Bermuda grass like a weed, right? And the best time to control weeds is when they are actively growing. So if you went started spraying this stuff in like I don't know, like say February or early March, are you going to get some kill off? Yes, but is it going to be as good versus if you wait until it's really beginning to come into full swing and really take off? No. So and given what you're trying to do, which is go from Bermuda to Bermuda, you really want to do a good job getting rid of your existing 419 for best results. Okay. So hope that helps, Mikey. Keep me posted as far as how it works out for you. Take pictures before, during, and after, so we can show folks the glory of your lawn once it comes through. All right, be kind of cool. All right, the Chiller from Manila is in the live stream. He says, "Hey Ron, and happy Friday, everyone. Looking forward to some good old turf talk. Some good old turf talk. We'll try our best, man. Trying our best. Let's see. I think Devin came back. His thoughts are: it looks like possibly trips damage. They can produce a silvery appearance because they rasp the leaf surface and suck out the contents, leaving the epidermis translucent. Tough to tell. Part 1. Without more background info, definitely looks like insect damage. So he's saying it looks like insect damage, not disease. Cool. Thanks for that, Devin. I dig it. So yeah, without knowing exactly which insect you're dealing with, tough to recommend an insecticide, but this is what this man does for a living. So if he thinks it looks like insect damage, then I'd say let's do some more digging and determine exactly what it is, and then you can apply an appropriate insecticide to get rid of it. So, you know, I mean, more than likely bifenthrin or acetylprin, one of those two will not likely be able to knock it out. But first, determine exactly what it is that you're dealing with. All right. Okay, next up, Fragrance Man says, "Thank you, brother. Yes, you're right. I don't know exactly." Yeah, so figuring out what's going on with it is going to be important. That way we're not just throwing products at Alonda's and hoping for the best, right? We want to figure out, we want to know what the challenge is, so we're solving the correct problem. Okay, Ball Game MB says Kentucky Bluegrass. Yeah, so if you got Kentucky Bluegrass, then Sedgehammer is what I would tell you. The thing is, guys, Sedgehammer does work. It works actually fairly well. It's just slow. It's slow. I mean, I'd say with Sedgehammer, Sedgehammer surfactant, apply it, and then like don't look at it for like minimum 2 weeks. Minimum 2 weeks, you'll start seeing it beginning to take effect. So it's a good herbicide. It's got the benefit that it's, you know, as long as you're spraying at the rates, there's really not it's not really a temperature restriction with it. So as far as like burning and that type of stuff or injury, if you spray it when it's hotter out, much less likely compared to other herbicides. The negative is it's just slow. It's really slow working herbicide. So, but you got cool season grass, so that's more than likely going to be your jam, unfortunately. All right. All right. So let's see what we have here. I think we got kind of winding down. We got one more question or comment. This one is Rebel Basser. He says, "Happy Friday, all. The Tribute Total and Blindside knocked out the Dallas grass. Cool, nice, like it. Discolored the common Bermuda a little, but it's already running through where I sprayed. The Palisade Zoysia is running. Very, very cool, man. Nice. So Tribute Total and Blindside, not inexpensive, but if that's doing the trick for you, cool. Yeah, you know, it'd be cool, Rebel Basser. Keep me posted as far as you know, any kind of recurrence or resurgence you get of the Dallas grass. It'd be cool to find out if like how good a job this is really doing as far as keeping it you know, keeping it gone for the most part. Like, did it truly kill it, or did it just really injure it really badly and it's allowing the Bermuda to spread a bit more? So yeah, just keep me posted as far as how well it does. But again, that's not an inexpensive combination. I mean, Tribute's it's over $300. I don't even know what it costs now. It's pricey for a small bottle of it. And then Blindside's not that expensive, but the Tribute Total is the more costly of the two. But yeah, man, keep me posted. Keep me posted. I want to hear more. All right. Well, cool. We have one last comment. This one is from Mr. John's Grass Hangout. He says, "Hey, you're on. Good evening. Have you ever tried using an AccuGauge on the Revolution 20? I tried a Cash App, but this thing is doing crazy stuff. I got you next time. Thanks." No problem, John. I appreciate it. No, I've never. It's funny. I'd never used the AccuGauge on my Revolution because it's got the dial, thing for being able to change the height of cut. So I never just really I didn't really see the need. So no, I have not. It's mainly on my not mainly, it's only on my Greensmaster and on the Alad as well too. If I want to check with the Alad to make sure that both sides are even, I can use the AccuGauge for that, but not on the Revolution. I have not done that. It's funny. The reason why you're asking this makes me wonder if there's more to the question. But even though I have not done it, there's no reason why it won't work. I guess if you're asking me, is an AccuGauge compatible with a Revolution 20? Yes, you can absolutely use one of those on a Rev 20. You might find, depending on how yours is set up and how the roller's mounted, you may find that you may have to. I'm not sure how tight what the height of cut is set to on the side of the roller, like how will that correspond to the actual height of cut. So maybe having an AccuGauge just to kind of like see that could be useful. But yes, if you're asking, can you use one? Yes, but it's less useful on a mower like that has like a knob that you can easily dial in the height of cut that you want, compared to one where you're manually setting it like a Greensmaster. All right. All right, next up is Best Brown. He says, "Is it time to apply a pre-emergent in Buford, Georgia yet?" Yes, I would. You can do what you want, but yes, I would get your pre-emergent out. What are you planning on applying? This weekend is the idea. That's the plan. I've got, well, please wait. I've got, I guess what I'm doing tomorrow and Sunday, but early next week is when I'm planning on getting my pre-emergent out. So before we talk again next Friday, I will have applied my first round of fall pre-emergent on my lawn, with the exception of where the new zoysia is. All right. You say, also, I'm starting to see my grass slow down a little. Can I stop PGR now or continue until September? And it's up to you. It's really up to you. Like for most people, they like to still keep using their growth regulator apps through September and then shut it down the end of September. But if you're seeing that your grass is really not growing that quickly now and you want to stop early, there's